Hello, I'm Richard Downs and welcome to my YouTube channel. This episode is part 2, which is a sequel to my original video, which was a video of my scratch-built TARDIS console room model. This time I'm going to go in more detail about the electronic and electric bits and base. We'll look at what colour I used to paint it, to what switches I used on the actual plinth itself, including the motor. I used a linear actuator to make the central column go up and down. Just to recap, this is a little video at the beginning just highlighting the model itself. I thought I would include this so it's a bit of continuity of what was on the last video. As I say, it shows the completed model, the front side, both the sides, the back of it, and also how it's lit from behind. It gives people a glimpse of what was in the first video. So if you haven't seen the first part of this video, I would advise you to check back on my YouTube channel and have a look. Thank you. For the colour choice of the console room, I tried to look at what grey spray paint I could find that closely resembles the actual TARDIS console room. So I went for the Citadel colour Grey Seer spray paint. I find overall spray paint gives a better finish on models. I feel it gives a more professional look, and you can't see the streaks caused from the bristles when you're painting with a paintbrush. So I always recommend, if you can, big models like this, try and use spray paint or use an airbrush. Here I'm exploring the model, pressing the buttons. As you can see, the time rotor is going up and down. You can see, just to show you, that the buttons work the time rotor, and also the lights on the console. So I take the time rotor off, and as you can see, there's a wire leading directly through the console itself. So what I'm going to do is just take these pieces away and move this out of the way. I've got Velcro at the back, so I'm just unfastening it there, putting that to one side. Just go around here, undoing that bit of Velcro. Remove that piece. And then just the roundel walls to remove, which, there you go, so that's done. So as you can see, just the console left in the middle of the plinth. So what I'm going to do is lift the console up, pull the time rotor out, lift the console up. As you can see, there's wires going through the plinth itself, and you can just see the linear actuator motor sticking out, and that is the underneath of the base. There's all the electronics, as you can see, underneath the base itself. These are the cables, the wires. To the right hand side there, to the top right, there's a little box of batteries, and that leads to the speaker, which work the speaker at the front. And them cables connect to the switches, and I've hot glued the wires to the base. Now we examine the console again, so you can see in a bit more closer detail the wire sticking out of the middle of the plinth, and that is the linear actuator, which will be examined a bit later. So that pulls out of there the time rotor. So the wires connect through the underside. They all have connectors on. This is a closer look underneath the plinth. Batteries, all the batteries operate the switches and the lights on the TARDIS console. It's all run by batteries. Again, that's the left hand side of the plinth, again with the battery and connected to the speaker there. I don't use them anymore. I now use Bluetooth speakers. This is a closer look underneath the plinth. The linear actuator motor is connected underneath that wooden board. And obviously there are the switches. And that's a closer look at the console itself again, with all the cables sticking out of it, and they've all got connectors on the end, and they connect to the wires under the plinth. What we did with this is numbered all the cables and also put letters on them, so we can attach which cable goes to which. Here's a closer look underneath the console model itself. If you go to Troy Wood's website on 3D printing Doctor Who, which is a fantastic free resource to print Doctor Who character option scale models, 3D printing, and this particular console model is available on there, but I have actually changed the internal, how it looks on the actual console, so I've had to make space for the cables to go through in order for the linear activator to go directly through the console itself. This is a picture of where I wanted to put holes on the console panels itself and then put lights behind them. So where I have put pen markings on the pictures, you can see where I've all of them gone and put holes in the console so I could fit lights in them afterwards. This is a still of the plinth showing you the linear activator model in the middle. This is another picture just showing it from another angle. This is a close-up showing you the linear actuator. That is basically the motor that works the console model. That is a close-up of the linear actuator, which is a motor that moves up and down. This is a close-up of the actual linear actuator that works the time rotor on my model. So what I thought I'd do is just explain what an electric motor and micro switch is. So an electrical motor, when voltage is applied, it rotates a shaft within the same to give movement. A micro switch or limit switch is a switch within an electrical circuit that can operate an item or that circuit. Within this installation on my model, a motor with micro switches would not or could not be built into the console, so an alternate arrangement had to be used. It was decided that a linear actuator could be used for the up and down movement of the console time rotor, and a second linear actuator to operate the electrical circuit with the micro switches installed in the base area. Pressing the buttons to show you the actual linear actuator moving up and down, and as you can see, the arm of it moves up and down in a slow movement, which is akin to the speed that was seen on the actual time rotor in Doctor Who. This is a close-up of the actual linear actuator that I bought and used. I bought two of them, one that were 20mm up and down movement and another one that were 25mm up and down movement. This linear actuator was very successful. One linear actuator for up and down and the other operating the micro switch circuit flat in the base. Again, this is another close-up of it, just showing you. And of course, the time rotor on my model sits nicely on that. You can just see the blue tack, which holds it in place as it moves up and down. Now, this is a circuit diagram that my dad made, especially for this video, to show viewers how they can do one themselves. Now, as I've said earlier, there is various other motors that could be used, but we went with the linear actuator, and I think it actually works really well in keeping with the actual movement of what you see the time rotor looks like from 1983 to 1989. So it's a good choice. Though I must stress the circuit diagram is more complicated than it appears. So what I will leave you to do is just have a look at this and study this diagram. I've tried to make it as easy as possible for people to understand that aren't tech savvy like myself. That's why my dad's done this. So I hope you enjoy it. This is just showing you again everything dismantled, and you can see the console. Oh, and there's K9 in the background. But there you go, it just shows the console, the time rotor, all unclipped. And this is just another picture showing the front of the plinth, where the speakers are, where I drilled the holes, where I put the buttons, and the seal of Rassilon I used on the front, and I sprayed it grey. They are key rings, actually key rings I got off eBay, that I filed down and just stuck to the front of the plinth. I went online to RS Electrical Supplies in the UK and got these panel mount indicator lights. These are what appear to have been used on the actual console from 1983 to 1989. As you can see, there's a red and green version of those lights, so I bought two of each. I then found on AliExpress these switches, toggle switches, red and black, as you can see. I couldn't find any white ones, but I suppose you could always paint one of the toggle switches white. As for the other lookalike switches that were used on the TARDIS console, Scrabble tiles, these are historic versions of the tiles. They actually have the round indents underneath. I found them on eBay. I used Tamiya light blue and Tamiya light green spray paint. I also used light grey, dark grey and also a red spray. As I said before, I do find that spray paint gives a much better finish on the model than painting by paintbrush. This is another close-up of the dismantled console room model. And this is another view of the completed version of the model with a character options figure in scale with the model for you to see what it looks like finished. Well, that's another video done. I hope you enjoy the video I've done of this part 2. I hope it's been useful. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I'd be very grateful. I will be making more videos which will include some animation films and also model builds, but that will take time, so just bear with me. Please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you soon. Take care. Enjoy building. Bye.